Ladies and gentlemen, damas y caballeros, some people call it $1,000,000. Other people call it a small loan from my daddy. If you peruse the financial space of the internet, or really just anywhere in pop culture, you'll see this number everywhere of $1,000,000. And this number really just symbolizes a concept called financial independence, which is when you have enough wealth to live without depending on an income. Enough money to cover all your living expenses and never have to worry about money again. Sounds cool, doesn't it? There's even a group of people that dedicate saving a large amount of their income to achieve this concept very quickly, and it's called the FIRE movement, which stands for Financial Independence, Retire Early. And when I first heard about this concept, I was so inspired. I mean, the idea of financial independence is amazing. But then I started to think a little bit deeper into this, and I started to ask myself the question, is financial independence an illusion? Is this concept of reaching financial independence and never needing to have to work for money again misleading? Well, in this video, I wanted to challenge this concept because I was thinking, and I am in my thinking chair, that this concept might just be very misleading. It might just be an illusion. And pursuing this goal, especially at an extreme level, can do more harm than good. So here are 7 questions to deconstruct financial independence. Question 1. Can this concept scare you away from taking risks? I guess I'll start off by saying about 4 months ago, I posted a video on my decision to quit my job and pursue making home videos full-time, ride-or-die, ladies and gentlemen. But when I posted that video, and I don't like to acknowledge negative comments and I rarely get them, but I got a few comments of people saying $80,000 isn't enough. You need more financial independence before taking a risk. Like they were my parents or something, ladies and gentlemen, but my parents told me, El Agustin, don't let your dreams be dreams. But I don't come from money, ladies and gentlemen, and when you don't come from money, you truly understand the value of $1. And I understand that $80,000 is a lot of money, and that is enough money to take a risk. And 4 months later, I still do not have one single regret to quit my job. I think this concept of financial independence and waiting till absolute certainty can scare you away from taking a risk. It can prevent you from taking a risk due to fear because you're seeking so much certainty. But it's an illusion to think that there's a risk-free risk. In my opinion, and I am just a guy in a room by myself talking to a camera, but the biggest risk in life is not taking the risk. It's spending your life in fear, waiting for absolute certainty. You should take calculated risks in life, ladies and gentlemen, and you should be scared to do it because risks are scary. But you shouldn't let that fear hold you back. Question 2. Can't financial independence be achieved periodically? I don't believe that financial independence has to be definite. I think that financial independence can be achieved periodically throughout your life. I mean, the first time that I ever achieved financial independence in my life was when I was 19 years old and I just graduated high school. I had saved $5,000 and I was off to take a 2-month-long backpacking trip through Europe. And during that time, I was completely free to do whatever I wanted to do. I didn't have to worry about money. And for 2 months, I was financially independent. And during that 2-month period of my life, all the Europeans were looking at me and saying, what is this 13-year-old American boy doing by himself? I looked very young when I went to do that. But for 2 months, I was living my dream and I didn't have to worry about money. And for that short period of time, I was financially independent. And now I quit my job 4 months ago. And although I'm not raking in the dough, I am making a decent amount of income and I do have savings, and I consider myself right now, for this period of my life, to be financially independent. It's an illusion to think that independence has to be definite. Life is too short and far too precious to wait so long until you give yourself permission to take a risk or take a break. Financial independence doesn't have to be definite. You can achieve financial independence periodically throughout your life. You can achieve it 2 months at a time. You can achieve it 1 year at a time. And when you do it, ladies and gentlemen, it is awesome. Question 3. Can you live a life without uncertainty and full of guarantees? The financial independence community talks a lot about something called the 4% rule, which is once you can live off 4% of your investment portfolio, you are financially independent. It's when you have found the glitch in the financial system where you can withdraw your money without at the same time your money is growing. And despite how chaotic the news can be and all these economic doomsday stories, I'd like to believe that the economy and the stock market will continue growing over time. Maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but over time. But I wouldn't bet my life on it. And I wouldn't bet my life on it because there are no guarantees and certainty with life. Ladies and gentlemen, life is full of surprises. There are no guarantees. That's what makes life so exciting. I mean, I would have never believed 2 years ago that we would all spend 1 month locked in our houses during the lockdown. But eventually, people gotta get their haircuts, ladies and gentlemen. But it's an illusion to think you can live a life without uncertainty. I'm not saying that we shouldn't pursue financial independence and trust the system to an extent. I'm just saying that there's no certainty and there are no guarantees with life. Tomorrow isn't guaranteed. You could literally be hit by a car tomorrow and this thing could all be over. No matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter because life is never certain and you will never have a life full of guarantees. Question 4. Can too much certainty prevent you from growing? Ladies and gentlemen, this time of my life is extremely uncertain right now. I'm literally living one day at a time, or as I like to say it, one video at a time. A little bit of content creator humor right there for you, ladies and gentlemen. But because I decided to take the risk and not let financial fears hold me back, I have grown so much as a person throughout this experience. I don't know how you look at my videos, but I spend a lot of time brainstorming, writing, editing, and my favorite part, acting. And once I finish one video, ladies and gentlemen, I hear the crowd saying, give me more. And let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen, I give them more. But because of this period of uncertainty in my life, I have grown so much as a person. And it's an illusion to think that you can grow with 100% certainty. You know, I understand that people don't want what I want, and what I say may not apply in your life. I'm just a 29-year-old guy with no kids trying to have a good time and not rush anything to avoid that midlife crisis, ladies and gentlemen. But as I said before, I think that financial independence can scare people away from taking a risk because you want too much certainty in your life. But when you embrace uncertainty and choose to take a calculated risk to go into the unknown, that's when you grow so much as an individual because you go to very uncomfortable places. And sometimes too much certainty can be a bad thing. It can prevent you from growing. Question 5. Financial independence and then what? The FIRE movement gives you the equation to achieve financial independence, but it doesn't have much to say about what next, except do what you love. But once you reach financial independence, what's next? You know, I heard this very powerful quote the other day that said, if you're not practicing contentment where you are now, you're not going to be content when you get what you want. What I've learned in these past 4 months is that when you make such a big change in your life and you have complete control of your time, things don't just all of a sudden change. Nothing will change unless you start to seek it. If you don't hike mountains today, you won't hike them tomorrow. If you don't enjoy a cup of coffee today, you won't enjoy a cup of coffee tomorrow. If you don't enjoy life today, you won't enjoy life tomorrow. It's an illusion to think that you'll change all of a sudden. Once you have a certain amount of money, you're not just going to change all of a sudden. You have to start pursuing it today. Ladies and gentlemen, you can run away from anyone in this world, but you can't run away from yourself. If you don't take steps today to find enjoyment, then you're not going to find it when you get what you want. Things just don't come to you. You have to pursue it. Question 6. What about today? Sometimes this concept of financial independence can get very extreme in the FIRE community where people talk about saving 50, 60, 70, 80% of their income. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I was saving 50% of my income at my previous job, but it's bad when it's so future focused, because what about today? When you really think about it, as a society, we're always preparing for the future. When you're in grade school, you're preparing for university. When you're in university, you're preparing for a career. When you're in a career, you're preparing for retirement. When you're in retirement, you're preparing for death. There's a book that I highly recommend on this subject. It's called 4,000 Weeks. But we spend so much of our life, when you think about it, preparing for the future. We're always thinking about tomorrow, and we're so concerned about the future that we forget to live today. We're always so in the future that we're never living in the present. And it's important to plan and prepare financially for the future, and I preach that a lot on my channel. But the cost shouldn't be so heavy on today. It's an illusion to think that tomorrow will be better if you're always sacrificing today. The future is important. It's important to make sure that you're secure and comfortable in the future. But what about today? The future isn't guaranteed. All we have and all we'll ever have is today. So you shouldn't sacrifice too much of today for tomorrow. Question 7. How easy is reaching $1 million for the average person? When I first heard about this idea of financial independence and the FIRE movement, I was so inspired until I realized for the average person, financial independence will take a lifetime. Most of us don't have the privilege of receiving a small loan of $1 million from daddy. And financial independence for the average person will just take a long time. It might just even take a lifetime. And for me personally, after 2 years of aggressively saving, I realized that there comes a point where you have to say, I have enough. I have enough to take a risk. I have enough to pursue my dreams. I have enough to seek the life I want. Ladies and gentlemen, is financial independence an illusion? I don't know. I'm just a guy with a camera posting videos on the internet. What I'm trying to say, and the point of this video, is to say that we shouldn't sacrifice too much of today for tomorrow. We shouldn't let this concept prevent us from living our dreams. Because the reality is, financial independence takes a long time for the average person. It could take a lifetime. And if you spend your life waiting until you have $1 million to take a risk, then you'll spend your whole life waiting. We should all strive for financial independence, but we shouldn't let this concept prevent us from living our dreams, because nothing in this world is guaranteed. Chicos, vive tu sueño y lucha por tu libertad. Y con eso, muchas gracias, que tengan un buen día. Nos vemos, chicos.